Hello, everybody. It's a little odd, right? It's only me. Well, today we're going to try something new as far as the podcast goes. Didn't have availability for everybody to join today, which happens. So, what I thought I'd do is do some kind of live autopsy of walking through the way we look at doing SEO for Shopify e-commerce websites and go through a live example. So we'll go through the process and then we'll go through live examples. And I'm just going to kind of rant through this. So I'm not sure if this single kind of person podcast format is going to work or not, but hey, we don't know. We don't know. So let's go get this and try it out. So let me get the screen share going here, because I will be doing quite a bit. So screen share, let's go with window, and this is the window I need here. Okay, so we're going to walk through how do we get better rankings on my e-commerce Shopify website via organic search. And I will have a live example here. We're going to check out just the keyword running vest. I like to run. If I was searching for a running vest, I'm going to Google, how do I get ranked higher in the organic search results? In the organic search results, just a reminder, these are sponsored, pulled in from Google Merchant Center. These are traditional Google ads. And then our first results for organic is Nathan Sports, then REI. And then we have the Trailhead running supply. And then you get into these near in by store. Those are from Google Merchant Center, another organic listing, then images, and then you get into some Q&A items that come through. But we're really going to focus on, well, how do I get into these kind of top 3 spots? What are these people doing well? And does that correlate to my process of how to optimize Shopify websites? So we're just going to see if they're doing what I'm thinking they should be doing. And so our first part is keyword research. And we'll look at on-page optimization. Google Local, that's actually an edit error. I need to pull that out. That is not correct. And so the first thing that we'll look at is kind of keyword optimization. We do want to make sure that we're, targeting the right audience. And so, for this example, we want to align the right keyword to the right page of the website that's being offered. And most of the time for e-commerce Shopify websites, it's going to be category pages on a website. So, if we search the term running vest and we look at these top 3 here, we'll look at Nathan's. I'm going to skip REI. I mean, we can look at it. They're on a different platform than Shopify. Not that it matters, but Nathan's on Shopify. It looks like a custom CMS, and then Trailhead's on Shopify. So let's take a look at both of those. And kind of coming back to keyword research. So they've done a great job where they have a lot of different categories, and these are all collection pages on the website. And so we'd want to make sure we align like-minded keywords to that page. So example, running belts would be for running belts, armbands, probably running armbands, etc. Hydration, they have different categories. So this is really mostly where your SEO is going to be taking place for keywords that have higher search volume, etc. is your collection pages. Let's look at Trailhead. You can see all their product categories that are here for it. So let's just kind of focus in a little bit more on running vests themselves and trying to figure out what keywords we'd want to line up to this page. It looks like they're using a couple of different variations. But if we look at Nathan's page, they do rank higher than Trailhead for the search results. So we kind of have a good kind of comparison between the two. And so once we figure out, hey, the keyword that we really want to rank for is running vest, running hydration, etc., we do need to then optimize the page for that given keyword. So that's things like title tags, meta descriptions, H1 tags, and content for your category level pages. So let's look at those items. Do they include the term running vest in their title tags and meta descriptions? What's interesting is that Nathan does rank first for running vest, but they don't actually have it in their title tag, which is a bit surprising. But I think this is more coming down to Google understanding that hydration gear for running marathons, running and hiking, that means a running vest. They've kind of made that assumption already. So sometimes you don't have to have the exact keyword in your title tag or in the content, as long as contextually you're kind of talking about it. So Google can then auto translate your intent. Let's take a look here at, and this is happening too for, so you do have running vests. So they have hydration vest and waist packs, trailhead, running supply. So they have running in their brand name and vest in the title in a different spot. So semantically, it's correct. Nathan's has, running towards the end, but they don't have vest, which is interesting. But regardless, title tags are somewhat optimized. Let's take a look at their meta descriptions. We're going to use this tool from Ahrefs to look at this meta description quickly. So their meta description is a little long. 210 characters. It's not going to kill you at all. You're just not going to see this show up in the search result fully. So let's see if where it cuts off in the search results. So I'm thinking it's going to stop around and more. So running hydration gear, strong, find ways packable, and more. So I was correct. It does then get cut off. It does get cut off at and more. So yeah, they're just not getting to see this, which is fine. It doesn't impact your search results. We'll notice also here they have, let's assume is an H1 tag, but let's just double check with this tool. No. Interesting. So they actually have multiple H1 tags on a page. For some reason, this Fruit Punch Chewable Energy Tablet shows up first. It might be something in their promotional navigation or something that's showing up, but they do have another H1 for running hydration. I would clean this up and make this not an H1 tag at all, whatever this Fruit Punch Chewable Tablet is. So they do have an H1 tag with semantic keyword in there, and then they have this category level content that's here. It's what I'm calling category level content. Google loves seeing this because if all they had was running hydration, they kind of put it together, but this also kind of emphasizes what the page is about and increases relevancy. And you can see here they do have the term vest here. So it's definitely increasing their SEO rankings because of having this content. A lot of people are afraid of having this content. Some people put it below the fold way down here. That can work, but having it up here, I think, is great from a selling perspective, as you can kind of connect the dots and give your value propositions. So don't be afraid of doing it this way. It is definitely helping out their rankings. All right, and let's take a trailhead now. See what they're working with. We reload this so we can get a full look at their meta descriptions. They're actually missing a meta description. So they rank number 3 in the search results, yet they don't have a meta description. Some people might say, oh, that can't be possible. Well, the meta descriptions are kind of optional. Google's going to then pull information from the website to create a meta description. So meta description is more of like your ad copy that you can control. And it doesn't guarantee, even if you have it, that it's going to show up. So let's see what Google's pulling in. So they're pulling in North Face Summit Series. So, this is not really a great meta description. So they could improve this. Maybe this will help increase their click-through rate if they have more call to actions on here. To click higher up in the search results. So that's something that should be optimized from more of a click-through rate perspective. Let's go back here. They do have this H1 tag most likely, but let's just double check it is an H1 tag. And they do hydration vests and waist packs. So you can see that is an H1 tag. They have a couple different H2s, which is not that big of a deal. But yeah, this is what you want to see is the H1 here with the keywords relevantly in there. Now, where is their category level content? Don't see it below the fold, and I don't see it here. So all things equal between these two pages, this has a little bit more content that speaks around the keywords, and this one doesn't. And this could be one of the various reasons why they rank lower than Nathan's Sports on average. So Trailhead had some content here, man. It's going to help out. So we've looked at the title tag, meta description, H1, and category level content for these pages, specifically for running vests. And so what else should we look at from a optimization standpoint for these two? When we talked about category level content, blog posts can be debatable if that's going to be important overall from an SEO perspective. A lot of SEO companies say, hey, we'll do blog posts for you and we'll get a bunch of traffic into the website. And that can definitely be the case. The only problem with that is that then it kind of turns your website into more of an informational top funnel website. That's getting replaced a lot more and more with AI overview results and not click-through rates. And also, even if you do rank for that, they come to your website. It's not like they're going to convert right away. You have to make sure you have good retargeting programs popped up or email offers, et cetera, that kind of push them back into the funnel. But blog content, if gone too far, if you do too much blog content, this could be a total separate podcast for discussion. But if you're curious, let me know, and I can dive in deeper. But there can be a tipping point if you go way too informational on your website. Google kind of gets confused if you're an e-commerce website or are you an informational website, and they can battle each other out and hurt each other's rankings. And you probably want to rank for your e-commerce terms rather than a blog post. You have to be careful on how much you can over optimize the amount of content you have on your website that's kind of top funnel, and it can hurt your e-commerce related terminology. They do have a blog. Let's take a quick look and see what they have here on Nathan Sports. Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy. I mean, it's pretty out. Some of it's outdated, but they're not going too overboard. They got hydration tips in here, so it's not too bad. It's also kind of a pain in the ass to keep. But if they killed their blog posts, their blog, they'd be just fine from an e-commerce perspective. I don't think it would impact their revenue at all. Obviously, we'd have to check looking at Google Analytics and things like that to see if that's contributed to it. Let's see if these guys have a blog. I don't see it off the here. Maybe it's under coaching. Coaching plan. No, they don't have one, but that's okay. They don't need it. It's not a requirement for e-commerce to have a blog. It's an optional theory or optional tactic. All right, so we get into blog posts. Technical audit, so SEO is about on-page optimization, keywords, etc. But there's also the whole technical side. Is the website getting crawled correctly? Do you have HTML sitemaps? Are you set up correctly for href language tags? So I have a checklist that I've developed over the last 15, 16 years, pass fail. The thing is, Shopify websites out of the box are actually pretty good from an SEO perspective, technical perspective, I should say. You won't really find much errors. Maybe like we talked about on the hydration or on Nathan's website where they have multiple H1 tags. That's just based on the template that was modified. But your XML sitemaps are going to be in there. The site speed's going to be fine, and you probably should be relatively out of this 100-point checklist, you maybe find a handful of things. There are some strange Shopify plugins that create infinite crawls that you need to be careful of. So it's not that you shouldn't be doing technical SEO for Shopify e-commerce websites. It's just know that you're not going to find a tremendous amount of errors right out of the box compared to something like a WooCommerce on a WordPress website, or if you're getting into some sort of custom e-commerce experience, then the odds of having more technical SEO issues increases. So that's the technical side of SEO. You definitely want to check for that. Look at your Google Search Console. Look for the errors that are popping up here. This list of things that we go through. It's not rocket science here, but checking index, making sure that URLs are okay, canonical tags are looked at correctly. Some things don't. In this checklist don't necessarily qualify for e-commerce, like Google local information. But things like keyword. We also double check things like keyword title tags, semantic keywords in the title tag. Is there call to actions, meta descriptions, etc. So you can take a screenshot of this and use it yourself. I don't mind. So another place that we do want to make sure you are paying attention to is your Google Merchant Center account. I've run across several e-commerce brands that they do not actually have a Google Merchant Center account. And what does having a Google Merchant Center account get you? It gets you into the shopping tab of Google search results. All this stuff down here is all organic, pulling in from Google Merchant Center. So some people do interact with shopping this way and click through your website. It does enable you to run ads like this as well, but that's not our primary motive. because you'll notice in the normal Google search result, it kind of looks like an e-commerce experience already, and they're going to pull in Google Merchant Center information, or listings, I should say. Like all this stuff is Google Merchant Center information. Now, this is free to do. So it is free traffic. And what the cool part about Google Merchant Center is, once you set up an account and you give them your product information, within 24 hours, you could be getting new traffic into the website. It's not like traditional SEO where it takes several weeks, several months to get traction. This can happen instantaneously. Years ago, when Google was Google Shopping before came out, I used to do like manual product feeds and push it to Google, and we would triple our traffic overnight for clients that came to us on an e-commerce perspective. So it's really cool. So don't miss out on your Google Merchant Center and free traffic that can come in. Now, how do you set that up? Well, luckily, Google Merchant Center and Shopify have a good relationship. Just go to Google Merchant Center, Google that, make an account, go through the onboarding process, pretty straightforward. And then there is an app within Shopify that does connect your Google Merchant Center account to Shopify. So it will do it in real time. As you add products, the feed will update. So that is where you want to start off is use the Shopify integration with Google Merchant Center, get that active. That'll start pushing information out and getting you more traffic into your website. The only problem that I've seen with that integration of Shopify and Google Merchant Center, it's not that great as far as getting into the detail of optimizing your product feed, because depending on how your Shopify product category pages are set up, if you don't have certain like attributes filled in, like what category they should be listed in, their color, as far as meta information, the size, sometimes it doesn't get automatically pulled into Google Merchant Center. And Google Merchant Center loves to have very detailed information about individual products. So that's why we do use a third party most of the time to create and optimize your Shopify feed. And we have chosen to use Data Feed Watch. It's one of the more economical services out there that provide data feed optimization. And so what we can do with that is ingest your Shopify product feed into Data Feed Watch and then give that to Google Merchant Center. So the magic happens in Data Feed Watch, where we can tailor better titles of your products, making sure we have the correct categorization, the description is accurate. We have certain things that Google wants to see as far as gender that your product should be for, what product category they should be in, the size, etc. So you get a lot more control of how to optimize your feed with a tool like Data Feed Watch. And using a tool like that, which is relatively inexpensive, it is super inexpensive. I think just starting out, it's like $70 or $65 a month, and it's well worth it. I've seen impressions and clicks like triple and double by implementing that tool itself. So overall, Google Shopping, Google Merchant Center, getting your information in here is really important. So I am not sure if Nathan's is in there. So one way you can kind of check, it's kind of tough because Nathan is a huge brand, and so they have resellers that sell this itself. Let's see. That's one thing I wish, and maybe there is a tool and I don't know out there that you can like see what their inventory is. So Nathan is in here. Well, we can see that they're in the paid results. So more than likely they will show up in the organics. But of course, they have got a lot of different resellers. Nathan and More, is that them? I don't think it is. Let's see. So if you click on the listing, well, who is Nathan and More? So Nathan, okay, so it's Nathan and More, excuse me. So the brand is in here. That's their product listing. That is there. They don't have the best reviews, which is kind of weird. I would look into that separately, but that could be a whole different issue. So they are in here. Let's look at the other brand that we were looking at, which is not Nathan's, but Trailhead. So Trailhead doesn't actually have their own products. They're resellers. So they could still develop a product feed for it. Let me see if I search for Trailhead, what happens here. I don't see them in here. Let's see if I actually copy the domain trailrunningsupplies.com. Let's see if they've actually gone here. So it is a bit hard sometimes to figure out if they do have a product merchant feed. Let's see. So they are in here in Trailhead. Sometimes you search for their brands. They're here. We can see like this is probably one of their running stocks, and they've got the images in here, all the price breaks, etc. So yeah, we have a Google Merchant Center feed set up. So Google Merchant Center feed, super important to get that free traffic into your website. All right. Next item we want to look at, which can be somewhat controversial, is link building or building the authority of your website. So traditionally, SEO, from a very basic fundamental standpoint, when it first started out, is about relevancy, which we've talked about so far. Relevant, on-page optimization for the keyword that you want to rank for, title tag, meta description, on-page content, H1 tag, right? Making sure the technical side, it can get to the page, can crawl. But all things equal, how does Google, and this is talking very basic principles, how else is another signal they can get to see that you should rank higher in the search results? It is how many other websites link back to you. Of the most highest quality is what they would want to see. Maybe even the anchor text is used that you want to rank for that link back. So link building definitely does correlate to rankings. It is a needed part of it. 5 years from now, who knows? Maybe not. Maybe they can figure out a better way of doing it, Google itself. But they've always been heavily reliant on link building as a signal. It's in their original patents. Still hasn't gotten away. So let's take a look at the backlink profiles for those specific pages that are ranking here. So let me pull up the tool that I prefer to use, and that's Ahrefs. And what we're going to do is then take this URL, and you got to be careful too. Google started adding these weird question marks SRS to the URLs a couple months back, and it's kind of a headache. I think it's a tracking for not necessarily shopping but search results. It's really annoying that they do that. Anyways, let's take a look at this website here, and we're going to go ahead and duplicate this, and we're going to go ahead and grab the URL for Trailhead, and we're going to do a little comparison head to head for this. And I'm looking specifically at the URL itself and if it's got any links coming back to it. So according to Ahrefs, this page, Nathan Sports Collections Hydration Packs, has 12 unique referring domains. So unique websites linking back to them. And Trailhead, this specific page, has 0 referring domains. So all things considered, when it comes to a signal Google's going to look like, Trailhead doesn't have any direct links coming back into this page, where Nathan Sports does. If that's all Google had to use to determine which one's more authoritative, the algorithm most likely is going to say Nathan's. And that's probably one of the other reasons why Nathan's is ranking higher than Trailhead's. So Trailhead, you might want to do some links coming back. Let's take a look at these links too. Quality does matter. I tend to want to make sure that they're do follow links. If they're not do follow links, technically Google doesn't consider them in their backlink profile, but that's debatable. So let's take a look. So the outbound.com, there's one. And you can see here in this post, it's like a typical link building post. They mention Nathan's and it goes back to their website. Let's look at another one real quick. Trail running gear comes back. It doesn't say running vest, but any link back will help you rank for the original keyword you want to rank for. Let's look at the anchor text. So this is actually the links coming back to your website. So it's pretty branded, which is pretty safe from a link building standpoint. They do have, Nathan's hydration vest in here. So just as a little bit of authority push is most likely contributing to the ranking success here compared to Trailhead that doesn't have any links coming back to it. So let's take a look. Yeah, I'm not a fan of domain rating or URL rating. We'll talk about that another time. It's a metric they've made up. Well, even SEMrush has their own as well. Okay, so that is link building side of things. Making sure we get relevant links into the website. That is important to do. And then ultimately in our process is reporting. It's a huge metric to look at. A lot of times people will just say, here's what I've done as an SEO company for you this month, but they don't really report on traffic numbers. So that's like the first bare minimum that happens. That's not that good. Then you get into someone that reports what they've done, and then they say, hey, here's the traffic that's coming to your website organically. We're crushing it. Great, but not the best. The best is making sure you connect it to, have I seen increase in organic revenue into the website? And that is what you want to make sure any SEO company that you work with is driving not just traffic to your website, because that can kind of be done with that top funnel blog content and it masks a really successful campaign, but it's not success in actual dollars that you're getting returned on from your e-commerce purchases. So revenue, really tracking organic revenue over month, year over year trend lines is what you need to do. Best way to do it, especially with Shopify, they're in their first their reporting tools are pretty good. Their attributions, it's a little tough to. They have their own kind of attribution model compared to Google Analytics, but it's way better than BigCommerce that I've seen. So Shopify is a great platform from a reporting standpoint to use and collect your organic information. You can drill into reports and get to that. As a backup, I would still have Google Analytics 4 integrated onto the website, so you can look and see what Google Analytics says from a revenue perspective. You can get a little bit more detailed on landing page reports, et cetera, and kind of dissect things as well. Google Search Console is another tool that you should set up from a reporting standpoint. It gives you your information directly from the search results of Google itself. It won't ever connect to revenue data, but you can get in there and dissect keywords that are coming in and driving traffic. You can, probably the most valuable report is to remove branded keywords from that report. So you can just look at non-branded keyword traffic. And non-branded is something that doesn't contain your keywords, so like Nathan's is the brand for Nathan's. A non-branded keyword would be like running vest. And so you can see because ultimately at the end of the day, the job of any SEO campaign is to increase the number of keywords that your website ranks for that are non-branded and increase the ranking of those non-branded keywords. So it increases the traffic of your non-branded keywords, which then increases your revenue. That is the goal of it. So yeah, kind of a general walkthrough here of it. Specifically us, we do use Basecamp to manage all our projects. Keeps it easy. You can use whatever platform that you want. But yeah, it's kind of a live audit of why most likely, Trailhead, or why Nathan's is outranking what was the other brand here? Sorry. Trailhead for running vest. This is one very small slice of the pie as far as an example. We did it live, so sorry if I stumbled a little bit through this, but I think it does illustrate how we optimize websites, Shopify websites, and the certain tactics that we go after at a very broad stroke. But it was nice to kind of connect some of the dots as far as hey, Nathan has got 2 H1 tags, but it's not tanking their rankings. They have category level content, which Trailhead doesn't. They're actually doing link building to that specific page, which Trailhead doesn't. So there's kind of things that connect the dots on potentially why Nathan's is outranking Trailheads. And you could dive into other websites as well. I was just specifically focusing on 2 Shopify websites that are in the top 5 here. Amazon's its own beast for it all. But those principles still, those main principles, regardless of platform, still can be taken into consideration for getting higher organic rankings. So yeah, kind of a quick little podcast, about 30 minutes, it looks like here, of me just rambling on about SEO and my process of how we do this. So yeah, not sure how well this will go, but I wanted to get a pod out, and here we are. So if you do like this type of content, let us know, because I know Trevor can really dive in on the paid side of things, or maybe we do something live together where we battle it out for SEO and paid, and rip apart some different brands or processes. But anyways, if you made it this long, thanks for sticking in there, and have a good one. Thank you.